This is the first time I've seen a president stopping and people stopping him and signing in terms of the speech for the night. That was interesting. So it shows in terms of, you're right, his popularity. Mm-hmm. Let me just ask this then. If you think that if he continues to go into these areas and continue to sell his program, don't you think at some point that elected officials in particular will say, wait a minute, I think I better join him because he's saying the right things? Or you think they would continue to use a strategy that that's somebody else's bill and not his? Because he's indicated the fact that the stimulus package was important to him.
Really, it really seems like we're still in a campaign mode when you think about some of the things that have happened over the last, his first month, as far as going out on the trail. I've never heard of a president going out to America to sell a legislative proposal, which is what he did when he went to the states around here, to Virginia and another state. He took his show on the road, and he was successful. He was successful among Democrats, but
I think it was successful among the Republicans also, not Republicans in the House or in the Senate, but the average everyday American Republican. If you look at those numbers, he's well over 50% with them. Why? I mean, one of the reasons why you have a very competent president coming on the heels of a very incompetent president. So there's a huge disparity in that one sees, and I don't think anyone can see. Everyone can see that also.
On that note, I switched to, let's go to the census. I want to talk about the census. Yeah, I want to talk about the census. After every 10 years, we have a count.
Sure.
And of course, there's a lot of concern about the fact that so many things actually, as a result of the census, in terms of food stamps, and there's so many things that depend on an accurate count. Do you think that we're structured in a way to get an accurate count this time, being that something that comes under your committee?
As the chair of the Census Subcommittee, I think we will do a better job than what we've done in the past. It will be a better result from the 2000 census or the 1990 census. Now, the key for this administration is to get a census director first. We don't have that job has been vacant for about 3 months. This is a critical time for the census. The census date is April 1st, 2010. But you have to prepare for a census that comes every 10 years. It's mandated by the Constitution. The bureaucrats in the Census Bureau have prepared, but you do need leadership, and so we are going to lean heavily on the White House and this president to be the face of the 2010 census, to be the one that actually cuts the commercials, that encourages Americans to fill out the questionnaire, and return those questionnaires to the Census Bureau. And you know how difficult it is for some people to answer the door when an enumerator comes and knocks on your door because of suspicions or whatever. But we want to treat this as a national service. That this is one way that every American can contribute to their government by answering their census form.
We're getting better at it. I mean, there's always been difficulty counting all the people. I mean, dating all the way back to Moses when they said number the people. So census taking really isn't anything new. It existed even in biblical days.
But they didn't have a director, did they?
But they gathered up the folks, and I think that Lacey is absolutely accurate in terms of needing the kind of leadership that has the experience, that has done this and knows how it's done. And I think that will go a long way. I've been doing census myself for about 30 years or more, 40, in terms of being engaged in the process and working with the census when the time comes, trying to get people to sign the forms, telling them they don't have to hide when the census taker comes and all of that. And people are learning. So I don't think it's going to be as difficult as it has been, and more people are actually going to respond.
Let me just add this to it, and that's in regards to the Census Bureau itself. And the reason why I think that the count will be better than 2000. And there's two huge reasons why it's going to be different. And I think it's because of two individuals. One is Lacey Clay, who is the chair of the subcommittee, and they know that he will be watching it and being on top of it, and so therefore they won't play any games because Lacey won't allow them play games because he'll be on it. And the second is Ed Towns, because he has the oversight committee as the chairman, and he will be summoning them in before his committee. So I think they know not to mess around with these two gentlemen because they're in charge here in the
Greg
House.
has certainly given us our marching orders, but look, on a serious note, the American
serious
people
about that.
need to understand that, there are dollars attached to the census. There's $300 billion a year that go directly to communities based on a per capita formula. There are money. And for every person that is missed, it costs that local community about $2,200, as according to 1990 estimates. We are getting ready to reevaluate that, but that's still money every year that a community loses when they miss someone in the count. And so it's very important. And then over 10 years, it stays that way for 10 years.
So it's 22,000.
For sure, for every person.
Wow.
Right. So you've lost
every
$22,000
per person. We went back and found in Cincinnati 27,000 additional people that the census missed with the Now Outside group. We found 47,000 in Detroit.
Wow.
So there's no telling how many people that we have missed. And you can get the census to rework those numbers.
Did you come to Chicago?
We haven't got to Chicago yet.
I'm sure you find a lot of
Chicago's next. Let me thank all of you for being on News and Views. I really appreciate, Lacey, you have your work cut out for you. I mean, in terms of the census, I plan to be there with you. We're going to try to make certain we get an accurate count.
We will have a field hearing in New York.
Oh, no question about it. You know that, because that's the place where we got to get people counted. Danny, want to thank you especially for your work you've done, especially with Second Chance. And Greg, we want to thank you for your leadership in so many ways. I mean, he's always involved in terms of keeping everybody together and keeping us on track in so many ways. And let me just say to you, I know in terms of financial services, you're going to be involved in the oversight of TARP. And I know you will. Thank you so much for being on News and Views. Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
You have been watching Political News and Views with Congressman Ed Towns of the 10th Congressional District of New York. If you have any questions or comments regarding this program, please write care of Congressman Ed Towns, U.S. Capitol, Washington, D.C. 20515, or call 202-225-5936.